Good afternoon. I welcome you all for the board of studies of online manufacturing, and I am looking after the topic and allied weeks. As all of you must be aware that a new act, that is the Companies Act 2013, has been enacted into the place of Companies Act 1956. This has made a lot of confusion among the students and who has given their examinations in November 2014, and now their focus has been shifted to May 15 examinations. Firstly, we will take the queries which we have received through online form, and then we will shift our session to the online queries. The liberalization and globalization of our economic policies in tune with the global changes brought several reforms in the corporate and allied laws of our country. A scheme of well-structured corporate and allied laws is sine qua non for the corporate growth. These laws are being amended and fine-tuned from time to time in accordance with the changes that are taking place within the country as well as outside. The students must read the disclaimer statement. Next, important note the students must read. Students are advised to refer to the study material, including supplementary study material, if any, and other relevant legislation for latest provisions, amendments required for forthcoming examination. The first query we have received from Sajna TC is how to remember section and how to revise the whole subject a day before examination. Dear student, you can remember the section numbers and link them after thorough reading of the Act from Bare Act and the study material. Reading and conceptualize the Act many times will help you in linking the section number with your question and remembering the section numbers. Though it is not mandatory to quote the section number, but it is imperative for a final level student to write it for making a good impression on the examiner. But avoid quoting wrong section numbers. While studying the study material, you may prepare notes from the chapters so that you can refer them a day before examinations and you do not have to refer the whole study material. You may also refer the practice manual before the day of examination. The next query we have received from Abhishek Gupta. He wants to ask about how to cover up the syllabus of the subject in less time. Dear student, there is no shortcut to the success. You have to refer each chapter thoroughly and please avoid selective study. Yes, I agree that you have other subjects also for studying, but giving less time to any subject will not be justified. You have to focus on every subject simultaneously, and for this, you can prepare a timetable giving equal time to every subject. Also, practice makes a man perfect, so you can practice from the practice manual to get an idea about the pattern of the questions being asked during the examinations. Dear student, please keep in mind that in this subject, you should understand the concepts thoroughly because the paper is application oriented. So try to read the provisions from the Bare Act for better understanding and their application during your examination. The next three queries are quite similar. The first query we received is from Mr. Sangumeshwar Chanbasapa Chaudhary. He wants to ask about the study, about how to study and what to study as per exam. The next query is by Miss Shikha Ranglani. He wants to about how to prepare for law. And third query we have received from Shamin. He want to ask about how to prepare for this paper and suggest reference book. Dear students, this is a very common question being asked by many students. Law is a very important subject from the examination point of view, and a student can secure very good marks by following a strategy and giving sufficient time to the subject. The first and foremost publication a student must prefer is the study material of the institute. The students should refer all the chapters thoroughly and they should avoid selective reading of chapters as the question paper contains compulsory questions with coverage on all the chapters. It is also very much essential to have relevant bare while reading the study material. Second, after finishing a chapter from the study material, students should refer the same topic from the practice manual so that the chapter's practical application may be understood. After completing the study material and practice manual, students must refer the revisionary test paper for revision of the subject. Next publication, he may refer the suggested answer. A scan through the previous year's examination papers will give an idea as how the questions are framed so that preparation can be synchronized in that direction. Students may note that while referring the past year's suggested answers, the questions and answers may be based on the old legislation. For example, the Companies Act 1956. Students may reframe their answers on the basis of new legislation. Students may also practice the mock test papers hosted on the institute website or by giving in their respective branches. The institute has not prescribed any reference book for this subject. There are so many books available in the market. You can purchase any of them as per your convenience. You may also refer the bare X for the Companies Act along with the institute publication. The next two queries we have received is from Mr. Shamin. He wants to ask about how to prepare for this paper and suggest reference books. And second question we received is from Mr. Sangameshwar Chanbasapa Chaudhary. He wants to ask about the book to use as the solution of every question. Dear students, I think I have gone through the query relating to preparation of the subject thoroughly in my previous slide. Regarding reference book for this subject, I would again like to inform that Institute has not prescribed any reference book for this subject. You may also refer the bare X for the Companies Act along with the Institute publication. Regarding second query relating to the book as solution of every question, I must say that there is no substitute for hard work. You must refer the Institute study material and practice manual thoroughly for getting good marks in the examinations. The next two queries we received from Miss Vidhi Bhatia. She wants to ask about how to prepare for case studies. And next query we had received from Mr. Gaurav Gupta. He wants to ask regarding some guidance on presentation in exam. This is a very worthy question to be asked on this platform since 90 to 95% of the paper is based on application-oriented questions. Students should know how to answer these questions for scoring good marks. While attempting practical application-oriented questions, students should be able to pinpoint the legal points or issues involved in any statement, problem, or situation given in the question. The answer to the application-oriented question may be presented in the following manner. First, the student may write the heading of the answer if possible. In the second paragraph, he can write the relevant legal provision with correct section number and correct name of the act with year. In third paragraph, he can discuss the facts which has been given in the problem. Like he can write in the instance case or as per the above question, these are the facts. Fourth, He can correlate of the legal provision with the facts. And in the last, if he is very much confident about his answer, then he can write the conclusion. The next query we received is from Mr. Vaibhav Rathi. He wants to ask about rotation of auditors under section 139(2) and 139(4) of the Companies Act 2013. Dear Mr. Weber, due to paucity of time, I am not able to explain the entire provisions of section 139(2) and then 139(4) of the Companies Act during this 1 hour session. So you can send me some specific query on my mail ID. The next query is we have received from Mr. Thasapathy HSD Pratap. He wants to ask about disqualification of auditors under section 141, subsection 3, clause D, part 1. According to section 141, 3, subsection D, clause 1, a person who or his relative or partner is holding any security of or interest in the company or its subsidiary or of its holding or associate company or a subsidiary of such holding company, provided that the relative may hold security or interest in the company of face value not exceeding 1 lakh rupees as prescribed under the Company Audit and Auditors Rules 2014. The Company Audit and Auditor Rules 2014 provides that a relative of an auditor may hold securities in the company of face value not exceeding 1 lakh. Further, the above condition shall, wherever relevant, be also applicable in the case of a company not having share capital or other securities. If the relative acquires any security or interest above the prescribed threshold, that is 1 lakh, the corrective action to maintain the limits as specified above shall be taken by the auditor within 60 days of such acquisition or interest. The next query we received is from Mr. Hitesh Thakkar. He wants to ask about whether quoting of section number is necessary during the examination. Dear student, though it is not mandatory to quote the section number, but it is imperative for a finance level student to write it for making a good impression on the examiner, but avoid quoting wrong section number. The next query we received from Mr. Suhas K. He wants to ask about the special notice requirement on removal of auditors. If the retiring auditor has not completed a consecutive tenure of 5 years or, as the case may be, 10 years as excuse me, as provided under subsection 2 of section 139, special notice shall be required for a resolution at an annual general meeting appointing as auditor a person other than a retiring auditor or providing expressly that a retiring auditor shall not be reappointed. On receipt of notice of such a resolution, the company shall forthwith send a copy thereof to the retiring auditor. Where notice is given of such a resolution and the retiring auditor makes with respect thereto representation in writing to the company and requests its notification to members of the company shall, unless the representation is received by it too late for it to do so, in any notice of the resolution given to members of the company, state the fact of the representation having been made and send a copy of the representation to every member of the company to whom notice of the meeting is sent, whether before or after the receipt of the representation by the company. If a copy of the representation is not sent as aforesaid because it was received too late or because of the company's default, the auditor may, without prejudice to his right to be heard orally, require that the representation shall be read out at the meeting. However, if a copy of the representation is not sent as aforesaid, a copy thereof shall be filed with the registrar. Now we will take some live queries. The first query we received is from Mr. Gaurav Kapoor. He wants to ask about which practice manual edition is applicable for May 15 examinations. Mr. Gaurav, for May 15 examinations, the relevant practice manual is December 2014 edition, and it is already uploaded on the website, and hard copy is also available at the various sales counter. The next query we received from Ms. Gunjan Baveja. She wants to ask about, please let us know how much marks are allotted for mentioning correct section number in the answer. And if we mention wrong section number or without its subsection, will it lead to negative marks or 0 for whole answer? However, our provision was correct. Ms. Gunjan, though it is not mandatory to quote the section numbers, but as a final student, it is imperative for you to quote the section numbers. But quoting of wrong section numbers will lead to the reduction of marks. The next query we received from Ms. Gunjan Baveja has asked the question regarding, is it necessary to write subsection with the section number while answering the question? No, it's not compulsory to write the subsection number, but if you remember the subsection, then for making a good impression on the examiner, you can write the subsection of the section. The next query we received from Mr. S.S. Bansal. He wants to ask about how many new sections are inserted in May 2015 examinations. Yes, as some students must be aware that for November 2014, the relevant applicable sections were 45 sections of the Companies Act 2013 and 2 chapters, that is Chapter 9, Accounts of Companies, and Chapter 10, Audit and Auditors, along with its rules was applicable. But for May 15 examinations, you must go through the BOS announcement portal, and there is an announcement dated 20th May 2014 regarding applicability of the Companies Act 2013 for May 15 examinations. According to that announcement, the relevant sections of the Companies Act 2013 notified up to 30th September 2014 would be applicable for the said examination. As the students must be aware that till date, the ministry has notified 283 sections of the Companies Act 2013, and out of these 283 sections, around 120 sections are applicable for intermediate IPCC examinations. So the left out, that is around 160 or 170 sections are of the Companies Act 2013 are applicable for final examinations, May 2015 examinations. The next query we received from Ms. Shruti Mehta. She wants to ask about if we are unable to recollect section number of Companies Act 2013 in exam and we write the corresponding section number of Companies Act 1956, will it be incorrect or is it okay? Dear student, if the question is based on the Companies Act 2013, then you have to write the answer as per Companies Act 2013. And if the question is based on the Companies Act 1956, then you have to write the provisions as per 1956. The next query we received from Mr. Santosh Kumar. He wants to ask about, is there any changes in syllabus for May 2016 examinations? Dear student, right now we don't have any information regarding May 16 syllabus changes, but you just go through the institute website and student journal for further communication from the institute side. The next query we received from PG Davis Pagey. He is asking a question. Select Easy Study New Companies Act. Though the query is a little bit confusing, but according to my interpretation and understanding, the student wants to ask about the material, which is easy for understanding the New Companies Act 2013. Yes, I agree that the Companies Act 2013 is a new act and it will take some time to understand its concepts. For understanding the concepts, you may refer the Bare Acts, and after reading the Bare Acts, you may refer the institute publication, that is study material and practice manual. The institute study material contains all the applicable provisions in a synchronized manner, and the concepts are well discussed through various examples and tables wherever possible. The next query we received from Mr. Deepak PJ. He wants to ask about the practice manual applicable for November 2015 examinations. Dear student, right now the relevant edition of December 2014 edition of practice manual is applicable for May 15 examinations. But as you must be aware that for November 2015 examinations, we have to wait till 31st March 2015 for the notification by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs for the notified sections. Till now, there are no further sections notified from the ministry side, so we can assume that the relevant edition of December 2014 will be applicable for the November 2015 examinations. But meanwhile, if in remaining February month and March, further sections are notified from the ministry's website, then those sections are also applicable from November 2015 examinations. Next query I received from is Ashley 1997. She wants to ask about how to prepare for the exam. Please suggest some suitable study patterns, how to learn the terminology in the subject, and should I answer in point wise or in paragraphs? Thank you very much. I think I have taken all the 4 queries through my presentation, so I'm jumping to the next query. Next query we received from Ms. Kanika Mangal. She wants to ask about, are we supposed to write rule number along with the section number for correct correlation? Dear student, it is not mandatory to quote the rule number, but section number you can quote if you remember the right section number, but avoid quoting wrong section number. I am again repeating the sentence. Please avoid quoting wrong section number because it may lead to deletion or cutting off your marks. The next query, I think I have already taken this query received from Mrs. Bansal. So I'm jumping to the next query. The next query we received from Ms. Kanika Khandelwal. The query is whether we should prefer practice manual. Yes, of course. You must refer the practice manual, and for May 15 examinations, I am again repeating, the relevant practice manual is December 2014 edition. The practice manual is a compilation of solved questions, whether taken from the past year examinations or whether culled from the previous examinations. We have revised and reframed all the questions and answers on the basis of Companies Act 2013. And from the allied law portion also, the questions and answers are amended. So you must refer the practice manual. The next question we received is from Mr. Prabhat Shrivastava. My question is that how can we link the section and remember the same? Linking of the section number can be undertaken by reading the bare act and the study material. Reading the act many times will help you in linkage of the section in during for the questions and remembering the section numbers. The next query from Shamim Alvi, I have already taken this query. He want to ask about the reference book if opt for self-study. I have already replied that institute has not prescribed any reference book for this subject. You may refer the study material and practice manual along with the bare acts. Rahul Jindal has sent me a query relating to appointment of auditor. This is a very big provision, and this 1 hour session I cannot explain the whole provision of appointment of auditor. But this provision is covered under section 139 of the Companies Act 2013, along with the Companies Audit and Auditor Rules 2014. In spite of this, you can refer the e-learning lectures hosted by our Board of Studies. The next question we received from Mr. Deepak PG. He wants to ask about number of pages need to write for a 16 marks question. First of all, I would like to say that there is no question of 16 marks in the question paper. Yes, there are 8 marks questions, a total of 16 marks. But the one question is of maximum 8 marks. So number of pages, we cannot comment on the number of pages. We cannot comment on the number of pages, but it depends on you. The whole provision should be properly explained and the answer should be given in a proper manner. Mohammad Rampurawala has sent me a query relating to how much depth does the ICI want us to study the subject? Yes, as per the syllabus of corporate and allied laws. We expect from the students that advanced knowledge is expected from the students. So you must prefer the study material and practice manual and go through the entire provisions and concepts in a thorough manner. And you can apply those provisions in the application-oriented questions, because 90 to 95% of your question paper comes in the form of application-oriented form. Viren Shabria has sent me a query regarding doubt in the director's chapter. Please, Mr. Viren, this is I cannot explain the whole director chapter. You can go through the e-learning lecture given by the Board of Studies, and you can send me a specific mail on any specific topic on my mail ID. Sinal Chauhan has sent me a query relating to additional amendments in May 15 comparing to November 14 in Companies Act 2013 law. I think I have already replied this query, but again I am emphasizing that for May 15 examinations, the relevant sections of the Companies Act 2013 notified up to 30th September 2014 would be applicable for May 15 examinations, and Ministry has notified till now 283 sections, and out of 283 sections, around approx 120 sections are applicable for IPCC, and left, that is around 160 to 170 are applicable for May 15 examinations. For seeking the applicable sections, you please refer the study material. Rajat Jain has sent me a query relating to what type of study required for getting 80% marks in this subsection. Student, I want to tell that the study material does not give you the marks. It is only your preparation that will fetch you good marks. So just go through the entire study material and do practice from the practice manual, and you can also refer the revisionary test paper and suggested answers. Mr. Deepak PG has again sent me a query on important chapter to give special attention. Please, dear students, please avoid selecting avoid doing selective study as the paper is covered from the entire chapter, all the chapters, and you just go through all the chapters thoroughly. Yashdeep Datta has sent me a query relating to, please explain schedule 3rd and schedule 6, which we have to remember, which we have to write. This query is a little bit confusing. Please reframe your query and send me to my email ID. Manoj Santani has sent me a query, how we should write answer, as most of the questions are not theoretical. Also, guide us or please suggest which pen we should use for writing examination. How we should write answer, as most of the questions are not theoretical. Yes, I have already explained this since 90 to 95% of the paper is application oriented. So you can divide your answer in 5 parts. In first part, you can write the heading if possible. In the second, you can quote the provision of the section, and third, you can quote the facts of the case. In fourth part, you can correlate the facts with your provision. And if you are more confident, if you are much confident about the answer, then you can conclude your answer with the help of a conclusion. And regarding which pen we should use for writing examination, for this you just go through the instruction of the given in the answer sheet which you are going to give. This is this query is incomplete. Ms. Savya Dakshina sent me a query relating to what is going to be covered in tomorrow's session, any specific section. This is I received this query very late, and in today's session, the whole syllabus of corporate allied laws is covered. There is no specific topic. Amrit Kaur has sent me a query. Ma'am, you will take only doubts. Dear student, this session is only for doubts, and if in the meanwhile time allowed me, then I will take some general queries also. Miss Shami Alvi has sent me again query. Sent me a query again. My attempt is due on November 2016. So I want to know the procedure to be followed to get best output from this subject, and what should be the study planning to memorize the new sections of this new Companies Act 2013. Dear student, this session is meant only for May 15 examination, so please you just send me the query relating to November 16 on my personal mail ID. I will properly guide you through that platform. Mr. Gaurav Kapoor has again sent me a query, how to make best utilization of 15 minutes extra time in exam. This is a very general query. You can read the entire questions in 15 minutes, and you can just go through the entire provisions which have been asked in the question. Santosh Kumar sent me query relating to what are the exact changes taking place for May 15 examinations. This query has many times I have replied this query, and if you have any further doubt, you just go through the revisionary test paper for applicable relevant for May 15 examinations. All the amendments are properly covered in it, and it will be hosted by this week or next week. Kanika Mangal has sent me a query. Madam, in a case study based question, and if we are not able to explain the sections but are able to give correct conclusions, then how will be the marking be done? Dear student, the marking of the question answer is done on point wise, but you have to quote the correct provision. But if you have given the correct conclusion, then examiner may give you marks. Abraj Salim. I have received a query from Abraj Salim. Ma'am, the SEBI regulation, can we write the provision in our own words? or we need to mention that the same as per regulation with the right clause number. Further, winding up of companies are all provisions applicable. Dear students, regarding SEBI regulations, you can write your answer as per your own language because it is very difficult to quote the entire regulation in your 3 hours time for 8 marks. So you just go through the provisions thoroughly and write the answer in your own language, but concepts should be clear. Regarding winding up chapter, the whole chapter is applicable right now, but just keep in mind that the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 are not notified, so you have to read this chapter from the point of view of the Companies Act 1956. Mr. Gaurav Kapoor has sent me a query. Please provide your mail ID so that we can send you detailed queries. I will give my mail ID at the end of the session. Just wait. Santosh Kumar sent me a query. Is there any video lectures for entire law subject by ICAI? Regarding this, I don't have any full information. So just mail me. Drop me a mail. Antriksh Morajkar sent me a query. Kindly provide us the sequence in which chapters are to be. Kindly provide us the sequence in which chapters are to be studied in the order of importance. Which chapters should be given more importance over others? Dear student, all the chapters that are covered under the study material are important from the point of view of the examination, since the 100 or 120 marks paper is covered equally divided or covered from the entire provisions of the study material. Please, Teacher Maheshwari has sent me a query. Please mention the sections of the Companies Act 2013 specifically that are to be studied for May 15 examinations attempt, and what are the sections of the Companies Act 1956 which will be applicable as it is in our syllabus. For the provisions applicable of Companies Act 2013 regarding May 15 examinations, I have already replied you. But for the sections of Companies Act 1956, please keep in mind that there are 4 to 5 chapters which were covered in our study material that have to be read as according to the provisions of Companies Act 1956, because its corresponding sections of the Companies Act 2013 have not been notified. The chapters you have to read as per the provisions of the Companies Act 1956 are operation and mismanagement, compromise, arrangement and amalgamation, winding up, producer company, and 3 chapters that is dividend, inspection and inquiry, and miscellaneous provisions. In this, you have to some provisions you have to go some read from the point of view of Companies Act 2013, and some sections have to read from the point of view of Companies Act 1956. You just open the study material and the full information is provided in it. Mr. Prabhat Srivastava sent me a query. In case of self, what strategy should be followed? I have already replied to this query through my presentation PPT about the preparation of the subject of law. My doubt is as follows. A company has 11 directors on the board, consisting of the following: Mr. Active, Mr. Achieve. Our chief is nominee from 2 public financial institutions, Mr. First, Mr. Second, Mr. Third appointed at the second AGM, Mr. Fourth, Mr. F, sent by Mr. Viren. This is incomplete query. I think Mr. Viren Chabri has sent me some 3 to 4 queries, and next query he has sent me regarding this: Mr. Fourth, Mr. Fifth appointed at the 3rd AGM. Mr. Addition was appointed as additional director subsequent to 3rd AGM. Mr. Casual was appointed as director in place of Mr. Soul and Mr. X. And next query he has sent me: Mr. Excellent was appointed as Managing Director for 5 years with effect from second AGM. Mr. One More was appointed as Additional Director soon after Mr. Didishan was appointed as Additional Director. List out in order who shall be vacating the office at the. This is Mr. Viren. The query is I have received your queries in parts and it is very difficult for me to understand the whole query. You please send me your query, combined query, on my mail ID. But I think you are asking about the provision of rotational director that is covered under section 152 of the Companies Act 2013. Ashley 1997 has sent me query about how to analyze this subject. Uh, Analyzing the subject, I don't know what you want to specifically ask. Please just uh, increase the query or reframe your query and send me back in this session, or I will take your session. I will take your query through on my mail ID. Mm. I have received this query from Mr. Venkat Nukaji. He is asking about, as per section 164(2), a director is disqualified to reappointed in defaulting company and appointment in new company. My question is, he disqualified to reappointment in other companies in which he is a director. Dear student, I would like to take this question through my presentation. So I'm going back on my PPT. As per section 164(2) of the Companies Act 2013, no person who is or has been a director of a company which has not filed financial statements or annual returns for any continuous period of 3 financial years, or has failed to repay the deposits accepted by it or pay interest thereon, or to redeem any debentures on the due date, or pay interest due thereon, or pay any dividend declared, and such failure to pay or redeem continues for 1 year or more, shall be eligible to be reappointed as a director of that company, or appointed in other company for a period of 5 years from the date on which the said company fails to do so. Thus, according to our interpretation and understanding, the defaulting director cannot be reappointed in any other company also for a period of 5 years from the date on which the default has occurred. I have received one more query from Mr. Venkat Nukaji. He wants to ask about the continuance offense and how the number of days are calculated. Dear student, as per decided case law, the Honorable Supreme Court has held that Section 472 of the CRPC provides that in case of continuing offence, a fresh period of limitation begins to run at every moment of the time period during which the offence continues. The expression continuing offence has not been defined in the CRPC because it is one of those expressions which does not have a fixed connotation, and therefore the formula of universal application cannot be formulated in this respect. Thus, we can say that in case of a continuing offence, a fresh period of limitation begins to run at every moment of the time period during which the offence continues. Next query we received is, please explain managerial remuneration as per part 2nd, 3rd and 4th as per schedule 5th to the Companies Act 2013. Though this query is duly covered in the study material and it will take much time to explain the whole provision, I would like to explain this provision in a very short manner. Part 2nd of Schedule 5th covers various circumstances in which the remuneration can be paid. The circumstances are: first, remuneration payable by companies having profit; second, remuneration payable by companies having no profit or inadequate profit without CG approval. Third, remuneration payable by companies having no profit or inadequate profit without CG approval in certain circumstances. Fourth, perquisites not included in managerial remuneration. Fifth, remuneration payable to a managerial personnel in two companies. Mr. Venkat Mukherjee sent me again a query regarding resident director requirement for the financial year 2014-15. According to Section 149(3) of the Companies Act 2013, every company shall have at least one director who has stayed in India for a total period of not less than 182 days in the previous calendar year. Next query we received is, please explain intercorporate loan under new act according to Section 186 of the Companies Act 2013 without prejudice to the provisions contained in this act. A company shall, unless prescribed, make investment through not more than two layers of investment companies. Dear student, under Section 186 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with loans and investment by company. Section 186(1) of the Companies Act 2013 restricts a company from making investment through more than two layers of investment companies. This has been added to prevent companies from creating a maze of subsidiaries and root funds that make it difficult for government agencies to track them if required. I will explain you the same with the help of an example. Let's say there is a company, ABC Limited. Now, ABC Limited can invest only in two companies, say company B and C, through the subsidiary routes and cannot go beyond this. Now, we will take some live queries. What are the important? Mr. Deepak PG sent me a query relating to what are the important changes in SEBI Act applicable for 2015 May examination. Dear student, for SEBI Act, there are two amendments applicable. One is SEBI Act 2014 has come into place, and one ICDR regulation is also notification on ICDR regulations has come. And for further details, you just go through the revisionary test paper applicable for May 15 examinations. This query has sent me my Mr. Venkat Mukherjee regarding Section 186. I have already replied this query through my presentation. So I'm jumping to the next query. This query I have already taken regarding managerial remuneration as per part 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 4th as per schedule 5th. Ms. Simriti Bhattacharya sent me a query. Are there any latest cases decided that would be applicable for May 15 examinations? Dear student, I want to tell you that for May 15 examinations, the case laws applicable which are covered under the study material only will be asked during the examinations and no new law will be applicable. This query relating to resident director requirements for the financial year 14-15, I have already taken this query through my presentation with 5 minutes earlier, so I'm not taking this query again. Rajat Jain sent me a query. What type of study required to get 80% in the subject? I think Mr. Rajat Jain has sent me this query again by mistake, so I'm not taking this query again. Regarding continuance, offense, and how the number of days are calculated by Mr. Venkat Naidu, I have already explained this query relating to continuance offense. Ms. Sneha Chadda has sent me a query relating to Mr. X shareholder in X Limited holding 10 equity shares of rupees 10 each, fully paid up, wants to give a special notice to the company for removal of Mr. Y, a director of X Limited, without stating any reason for the same. Is he correct? According to Section 115 of the Companies Act 2013, member holding not less than 1% of the total voting power or holding share on which aggregate sum not exceeding 5 lakh rupees can give the special notice. Thus, Mr. X can give the special notice. Further, as a good practice, the member may give reason. Hmm. Is Neha Chadda has sent me a query relating to is a director appointed against casual vacancy and additional director included in rotational director. Uh, Casual director is not a rotational director and additional director is not a rotational director. He has to resign in next AGM. Um, Ms. Gunjan Babeja has sent me a mail regarding thank you ma'am for this hangout and please let us know your mail ID for specified query. Yeah, you just write down my mail ID. It's Megha Megha dot Goel at icai.in and you can take down my colleague mail ID also, that is shraddha.saxena at icai.in. Now I'm taking my PPT session. I have already taken this query. Next, we have received some general queries. From the students on a day-to-day basis. Whether the Companies Act 2013 is fully applicable for May 15 examinations? The answer is no. The Companies Act 2013 is not fully applicable for May 15 examinations. How many sections of the Companies Act are applicable for May 15 examinations? The relevant sections of the Companies Act 2013 notified up to 30th September 2014 would be applicable for May 15 examinations. Whether the Companies Act 1956 shall also be applicable for May 15 examinations? Yes, some provisions of the Companies Act 1956 which are still in force are applicable for May 15 examinations, and I have already told you the name of the chapters which you have to refer from the point of view of the Companies Act 1956. To what extent the syllabus of corporate and allied laws have been revised for May 15 examinations? Students, you must be aware that from May 15 onwards, the syllabus of corporate and allied laws has been revised, as 60% of the Companies Act has been notified. And it was imperative to revise the company law portion on the basis of Companies Act 2013. Which study material is applicable for May 15 examinations? For May 15 examinations, the revised study material of October 2014 edition is relevant for the said examinations. Which practice manual is applicable for May 15 examinations? I have already taken this query. Okay, the relevant practice manual for May 15 examinations is December 2014 edition. What are the amendments in the Allied Laws portion applicable for May 15 examination? Under the SEBI Act 1992, the Ministry of Law and Justice wide notification dated 25th August 2014 has issued Securities Laws Amendment Act 2014. SEBI wide notification dated 25th August has issued SEBI issue of capital and disclosure requirement Second Amendment Regulations 2014. You just please, I'm just taking one more live query. The next query I have received is, what is vigil mechanism? By Mr. Rajat Jain has sent me this query. Um, the provisions of vigil mechanism are covered under Section 177 of the Companies Act 2013. This mechanism is for directors and employees to report genuine concerns in the manner as prescribed under Rule 7 of the company's meeting of board and its powers, Rules 2014. The last query I am taking by Mr. Yashdeep Datta. Ma'am, I have seen ICAI e-learning module in which it is not updated. So can you do something for that? Dear student, I will just look into the matter and will reply you. You just write down my mail ID and I will reply you through my mail ID. By this, I'm closing this session, and one query I have, just one query is left. I think it's by what are the conditions to be, this query is sent by Ms. Kirti Rarian. What are the conditions to be satisfied to transfer higher profits than the proposed percentage of profits to reserves as per company's transfer of profits to reserves rules 1975? Um, Under the provisions of the Companies Act 2013, the company may transfer such percentage of profits as it may deem fit. Hence, the erstwhile company's transfer of rules is not applicable. By this, I think I am able to resolve all of your queries. And if you have any further query, you just take my mail ID. It's megha, megha.goel@ici.in. Thank you very much.